I started from zero. Before you know it, you have 1 billion, you have 5 billion, you have 10 billion. And then when you tell people that it all started from 980 naira, they're going to be like, nah, that's a lie, you liar, you're a fraud, right? Because they don't understand it. Because from the outside looking in, it looks like it's a lie. It's you who is involved that knows exactly how it happened. It's you who is in it that can explain how you went from 980 naira to billions.
Yeah.
As a business person, your greatest points of progress are going to come from the things that you tried that didn't work. Because now, if you learn how to simply sit down and say, okay, I did this and it didn't work, why did it not work? If you learn how to do that, then you will be able to figure out the mistakes that you made or the omissions that happened, so that when you do it the next time, you're not doing it from a new place of knowledge. The second time out, I was doing it with better knowledge.
Yeah.
Because I sat down and asked myself, what did I do wrong the first time? How do I not repeat those mistakes? People learn how to do that, then the failures will not matter. In our first 3 months, we did 187 million in sales. So I teach for 2 reasons. Number one, because I want people to have the information that I didn't have. Because if I had somebody who had said, oh, do this and do that and do that, I probably would have gotten my results a lot faster. That's number one. And number two is that my mentor made me promise him before he died. He said, I want you to teach people like I taught you. He's my second father. I regard him as my second father on earth. Even now that he's late, I literally still worship the ground that he walked on.
Hello, everybody, and once again, welcome to another episode of the Entrepreneurs Connect show. As always, what we do here is interview African entrepreneurs who have built businesses in Africa to learn about their successes, their failures, their triumphs, their victories, and everything in between. At the end of the day, going back home, you're going to learn real life lessons you can take right now and apply in your life and business. And today we have a very special guest in the house, my very own mentor. His name is Ronald Nzimora. Of course, if you follow me, you've heard me talk about Ronald Nzimora a lot of times. And it's a privilege to have him on our show today. So this is going to make it like 1 year since we started doing this podcast, Entrepreneurs Connect show. And we have the privilege of hosting my mentor right now. Welcome to the show, Boss Ronald. How are you doing?
Thank you. I'm fine.
Good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you too.
Thank you for honoring my invitation.
After how many? Okay, not years, months.
It's not years. I think we saw it last year. Sometime last year.
Months.
Like this. How's everything going? Hope good.
It's going well.
What's your expectation on the show today?
Well, educative, formative, insightful. I watched the show actually.
Oh wow.
You probably are surprised, but I do watch
Are you
it.
serious?
Yeah. From time to time, it pops up on my YouTube feed.
So I did something right.
Yeah.
That is good. So
Yeah.
so good to have you here. You're like somebody that a lot of people call like the godfather of marketing in this part of the world. A lot of things we're doing today is because you first did them. So
Yeah.
you're like the blueprint for a lot of us younger guys that are coming forward. So it's going to be fun learning from you today.
Cool.
So where does your story start? What was life like growing up?
Probably when I was maybe like 8 or 9, something like that. We lived in the north at the time.
Oh wow.
Yeah, Gusau, the capital of Zamfara State. So we lived there. The childhood was fun. My dad was rich at the time. He's been rich, poor, rich, poor, rich, poor, and now rich again.
That's crazy.
So I think I've tweeted about it sometime, about how he's built 3 multi-million-dollar businesses in his life. And I hold him in a lot of awe because I don't want to do it twice. It's hard, right? It's hard. Building a business to that level is hard. But doing it 3 times, my goodness.
It's crazy.
So I look at him a lot of times and I'm like, man, this man is strong, right? So it was fun growing up. We were comfortable, but we lived in the north, like I said, at the time, and from time to time there will be all these riots in the city where we were living. And in 1991, my mom had enough, and she just packed all of us and went back to the village. We went back to my village, and at the time, my dad wasn't in the country. So when he got back to the country, they told him, your family has gone. They packed up after the last riots and went to the village. And the reason why my mom had enough was because the riot started and she had sent me to the market to go and buy. I was probably maybe like 10, something like that, to go buy stuff. I had gone out to buy stuff and the riot started. So she came out to look for me. She couldn't find me. Right? And anyway, by the time I got home, she was like, nah, I'm not doing this again. So we went back to the village. So my dad had to come back to the village and then come to Lagos and started looking for a place. So we eventually left the village
to Lagos.
Yeah. You know. So that's it really. At the time he was building his third business, which was and again, he's always been into imports or what we call e-commerce these days. Yeah. Right. So he was building the third one.
So it's inside your blood. This e-commerce is in your blood.
Yeah, he's been there from before I was born, actually. Yeah.
Were you involved in any part of his business at the time when you were growing up?
No, not really, because he didn't want us to. He didn't want us to. But when I had turned 18, I started getting involved because it was either I got involved or I would just stay at home and do nothing. So I would go out to the shops. He had a number of different shops, different markets. So I would go out and I would learn like the other boys who were there to learn, the apprentices. I was not treated differently. So, I ate when they ate. I went to the shops when they went. I came back when they came back. Right? So if you were not told I was the son, you wouldn't know I was the son.
Oh. Yeah. What was the experience like?
Yeah, it was... okay, at the time I hated it. Because, I'm the son.
It's your father's business.
Yeah. Right? Why the hell am I being treated like all these other guys? Right? But now... With the benefit of hindsight, I'm like, okay, that was probably one of the best things that happened, right? Because it forced me to actually, because now I didn't have a choice but to actually now get into the thing. It actually forced me to pay attention, to understand what was going on, what they were doing, they were relating with customers, how the negotiations were happening, and all of that. So,
but was that where you learned how to sell from?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, that was the starting point. But ultimately, my dad wanted us to go to school. Really, he wanted us to go. He didn't want us to be business people because remember, like I said, he had built. That was his third multi-million-dollar business that he was building at the time in his life. Right, the first one, I was a baby at the time, and then Buhari became military president and banned every import. So that was what killed that business at the time. So banned everything, somehow we let him do it again. But that's by the way. So he banned everything at the time. That business failed. So by 85, he started the second one. And then this structural adjustment program, SAP, happened. The economy went down and that business failed. So he had to relocate abroad to start the third one, which was putting telecommunication cables. So the third business, Nitel was his biggest customer. Nitel, Ghana Telecom at the time also, because he had a branch in Ghana, he had one in Nigeria. So it was good, but he didn't want us to because he had started businesses and they failed and then he would start and something would happen, so he really didn't want us to. He wanted us to go to school. So
what did you study in school at the time?
School. Okay, so the funny thing is that I wasn't supposed to go to uni. I was supposed to be a priest.
Oh, really?
Yes, I was training to be a priest.
Are you serious?
Yeah. I went to the junior seminary school, right? And all I wanted at that point in my life was to be a priest. My parents were cool with it. I had two other brothers, so it didn't matter if I did become a priest, But I think in 99, I decided that I didn't want to be a priest anymore. Right? I decided, nah, I don't think this thing is for me. I don't want to do it. I want to have my own house. I don't want anybody to buy it for me. I want to have my own cars. I don't want to be gifted. Because what happens with the priesthood in the East, where I come from, is that when you become a priest, you get gifted a car. Your community, they pull money together and buy you a car.
Oh.
Yeah, so I didn't want that. I wanted to buy my own car with myself. I wanted to be married. I wanted to have kids.
Started desiring.
Yes, I started desiring things. So I decided I didn't want to be a priest anymore. So that's how I left priestly vocation and started writing JAMB. Yeah.
How long did you spend in the seminary?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Including junior.
Oh, okay.
Junior.
Like from
so
school.
junior is like the secondary school side.
Uh-huh.
So then plus 2 years in the senior side. So 8 years.
So you wrote JAMB, and which school did you go to?
I went to Michael Okpara University of
Memorial.
Agric in Umudike,
Yeah.
Abia State.
What did you study?
Agric economics.
Oh.
Yes.
How was life in school? What was that like? Were you doing any business in school at the time?
Yeah,
Or-
I did. First of all, I hated the place. I hated it.
Why?
I hated the environment because it was limiting.
Okay.
You know, everybody seemed destined to follow one path. And that path was, graduate, find one government job, and sit down there and get married and have kids and stay in that locality. Right? My lecturers didn't have cars at the time.
Yeah.
Now, things have changed anyway. But at the time, they were boarding buses to school. And I'll be like, these are the guys that are teaching me to become something. And they're riding in buses. It didn't make sense to me. Right? It didn't make sense to me. Because now, at that point in my life, I was thinking about a whole lot of things. My mom had died, right, the year before. So now I had my siblings. My dad wasn't in the country. He wasn't living in the country. So it was up to me to take care of my siblings. I had 3 younger siblings. So now I was beginning to think about money a lot, right? So, and because I was thinking about money a lot, how do I get it? How do I make sure my siblings are fine? If they need money, how do I make sure that they have it, right? And now I'm not looking at my environment. I'm not thinking about the future. And I'm like, my goodness, I don't think this thing, even though I finish school, I don't even think this is my path, right? And one thing about me is that if I don't think something is my path, I quit. I'm not afraid of quitting anything that I don't think serves me or has stopped serving me. Nothing is exempt. Everything. Some people may not like to hear this, but everything. Nothing is exempt. If I don't think something is serving me anymore, I just leave it. That's it. Life is too short to sit somewhere or be involved in something that doesn't serve you anymore.
So when you figured this out in school, what were you doing?
So I started thinking about, so first of all, the part that I could see straight to money that was legal, because I didn't want to do anything illegal, because my mom's voice was always in my head, right? So the part that I could see to money that was legal was business, right? Now, I started thinking about how to get money. So now, the funny thing about where my school was that as much as the place was a kind of dry and dreary place with a lot of dreary human beings, they got a couple of things right. There was a functional library. There were newspapers every day. There were foreign magazines and newspapers, Time magazine, Newsweek, business magazines, Economist, every single month. For some reason, whoever was in charge, I don't know, right? They made sure those things were there.
Yeah.
So every day I will be in the school library. Every single day, I will read all of the newspapers, like end to end. I will skip the stories,
ads,
the politics and all of that. But the ads, the cartoons, everything, I will read everything, end to end. So in one of them, I saw this guy, he was advertising a book called 500 Businesses to Start in Nigeria. It was a booklet. So you go, the way to pay him was you go to the post office and buy a money order. Now, I'm sounding like a dinosaur now. So you buy...
What is the money order? What's it?
Exactly. That's why I said I'm sounding like a dinosaur now. So then the post office has this thing they call a money order. So you go, if you want to send 500 to somebody, right? You go to the post office closest to you, you buy a money order of 500 naira, and then they will send it to that person as a letter.
So it's like a voucher or something.
Like a voucher. So the person receives it, goes to the desk in his own post office and cashes it out for 500 naira. Right? So they have your 500 at the other end.
Yes,
the person gets the 500 at the other end. Yeah. So that's what a money order, a postal order, sorry.
Okay.
Postal order, that's what it was called at the time. So I sent the 500 naira postal order, and then I waited. So after like a week, I got the mail. Back then, I don't know whether they still do it now. I've never been there in over a decade anyway. So, but they will put your names on the board in the school common room and say and tell you if you have a mail, right? So every time we will go and check. So when they put up the new list, I saw my name there. So I went and they brought out the stuff and I opened it. I was eager. So I opened it, right? And I had this friend, Gregory. So we actually contributed the 250 each to pay for the report, right? So I called him, we opened the report, and I was disappointed.
Were there things that you already knew, or what were you disappointed?
No, so I was disappointed because I thought it was going to be some magic way or this straightforward thing to do to get money, right? But I opened it and the first thing I saw was how to sell puff-puff.
Wait till you did sing before.
And I was like, oh shit, how to sell puff-puff, right? How to sell, I think how to sell moi was how to make cake. Right, how to make cake, and so each one had maybe like each of the different it was 50 ways, not 500 ways, 50 ways to make money, right? So each of the 50 ways had probably like 3 pages dedicated to it. So I was disappointed because now I would now need to start figuring out how to buy, if I wanted to make puff, right, and sell it. I'll now have to figure out how to buy the flour, how to buy the pots, the frying pans, all of that stuff. I had to now figure it out, and I had to now figure out the right spot to be at. I had to figure out all these things, and then I was like, why don't I find somebody who already fries puff, right? And just tell them if that was what I needed to do, right? But then one of the ways was like how to start a cassava farm. So I was like, oh, okay, maybe this is the one we will do. Right? Because my school had a lot of land. Yeah. Lots and lots and lots of land that were, every year they will never get cultivated. So I went to the engineering department of the school and I told the man in charge, the staff, I said, I want to start a farm. And I want a portion of the school land allocated. And the man, he thought I was not serious. He said, what the hell are you talking about? Go away. I left, I came back the next day. I came back 3 straight days. So I was like, okay, come. So they went and showed me one place. Okay, so now, here you go, farm.
Have you farmed before now?
Yeah, I mean, so throughout my growing up, going to seminary school, the seminary school was in my hometown. So all of my holidays were spent in the village with my grandparents. So I knew what to do. Yeah, I knew what to do. My grandparents were not the type to pet you and say, you're a grandchild, so you won't do anything. They made me do everything. I know how to climb palm trees and cut palm bunch, even till date. I know how to do all of that. So, so the guy says, okay, here you go. That's the land. Farm it. And I was like, okay. That was the first time that I thought, okay, I'm going to need like to clear the bush. Right? So I went back to him the next day and I said, can I borrow the school's tiller, whatever, the school machinery anyway? Can I borrow it? And the guy says, are you crazy? You said you wanted to farm. I've given you the farm. Now you want the school equipment. I said, well, I'm a student. If you can borrow the school equipment to do it, he now said, okay, fine, that I'll buy the diesel. I said, good, cool. So I bought the diesel and they took the thing there and they tilled the whole place. Then they brought the ridge and they ridged the entire thing. Because he asked me what I wanted to farm. I said it was cassava. So I went into town and I bought cassava stems. And then I cut them. Right? So I cut them and then I got some friends and then we planted the entire place with cassava. And when it was time to weed, we hired some village women to come and weed. So you weed the farm every 2 months.
How did that business do?
So it broke even. We got the money that we put into it. That was basically what happened. Now, and the reason why I chose cassava was because Obasanjo was president at the time, and he was doing this thing where he was doing this cassava flour drive. So in my head, I was like, once we have our farm, we'll sell all this cassava, we'll make money. Because cassava became scarce, so the price of gari and everything shot up. So
2024 is looking and laughing.
Yeah. So anyway, we got the money that we put into it. That was when I knew. I was like, okay, I don't think agriculture is my thing. I don't think agriculture, especially crop, right? But maybe now it might be different because now I obviously have a lot more information and experience, right? I know what to do. But at the time, for all of the effort that we put into it, we didn't make much money. Maybe we even made a profit, I can't remember, but I know we didn't run at a loss anyway. Yeah. And I know that what helped was because we used a lot of the school equipment to do a lot of the work.
Would you say that you're a born entrepreneur, or do you think that you learned entrepreneurship along the way?
I don't know. I think it's both.
Okay.
I think it's both. My entire lineage down to my great-great-grandfather, we've been entrepreneurs, we've been business people and traders.
So it's inside the blood.
Yeah. But then I also had to learn things, right? I also had to learn things because my life trajectory wasn't to be a business person. I was going one way, and then I deviated myself.
Yeah.
And then I was going this other way to become an employee, and then I was still deviated. I was like, okay, I don't want this too. I just want to be in business for myself.
Yeah. So you obviously did not use your school certificates and all of
No.
that. So you left school and all of that. What did life look like afterwards? And then where did this online journey start?
The online journey started when I was in school.
Okay.
Yeah. So in the midst of doing the whole cassava thing and it's not giving me the results that I would have liked, right? I wanted to do something that didn't require me having to do a lot of hard work.
Yeah.
Right? A lot of physical hard work. So I was still looking. So I was back home in Lagos on holiday and going back to school. So I boarded a young Shagro bus. And this guy, he was sitting in the seat in front of me. He was reading a magazine. I didn't know what magazine it was, but he decided to sleep. So I tapped him and I said, please, can I borrow your magazine? I'll give it back to you when you wake up. He said, yeah, fine. And he gave it to me. And the title of the magazine was Success Digest. I was like, okay, interesting title. And then I opened it. The first place it opened to was the middle column. It was called WW Magazine. The middle column, maybe 4 pages or 6 pages. And he was talking about doing business online, how to write an ebook, how to write an article, how to promote.
What year was this?
This was 2003, September 2003. And I was like, wow. Now, I was really, really interested because I knew how to use the internet. I had been using the internet since 1998.
Oh.
Yeah. So out of that year, I had been using the internet for 5 years, right? So I was like, this is interesting. So this internet is not just email and checking basketball scores and all of that.
Yeah.
And, you could make money online. And then I started reading the other parts of the magazine. It was talking about business and marketing and sales. It was just so fascinating. Like, you could make people send you money without meeting them face to face. Because all I knew about business was that people had to walk into your shop, right? And give you money. So people can actually send you money without meeting you. Wow. So when I got to Umahia, the next day, I went to all of the vendors looking for the magazine. I couldn't find them. I took a bus and went to Aba.
To look for Success Digest.
Yes.
Wow.
Because the guy took his own back.
Yeah.
So all the vendors said they didn't carry it. But I could find it in Aba. So I took a bus and I went to Aba. And I found 2 copies. But they were old copies. I didn't mind. It was the same title. And the guy told me that I could go to Owerri. I took a bus from Aba and went to Owerri. And I found 2 more in Owerri. And they said, that I didn't come on time, that they had sent back the ones they didn't sell.
Yeah.
But that's next week. So I paid them money. I said, I will come back next week for it. And now I had 4 magazines. I was reading them on the bus back to Umahia. And then when I go to school, I read them and I was not like, okay, now I need to actually go to all these websites. Because I was really interested in, especially that internet side. Because I could use the internet, right? So there were no cyber cafes in Umahia. So I went back to Aba.
You travel from Umahia to Aba to use the internet.
Yes.
That's anybody that is using the internet that does not know what them. Wow.
Yeah. Because you have to understand that at this was 2003.
Yeah.
There was no Facebook. There was no Instagram, no TikTok, no LinkedIn, no Twitter.
Do you think we have it easier now?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Anybody that can make money online now, I don't want to sound rude, but I think the person is dumb. Seriously. Right? Like all these sites, Google was 2 years old.
Yeah.
Right? They had just launched their Google ad platform at the time. Right? And it wasn't even perfect. So a lot of people were not even using it. There were no ATM cards. Everybody has ATM cards now. Now you can pay. There were no ATM. There were no ATM machines.
Yes.
None. There was no internet banking. The only internet banking was you go to the bank. They will not use the internet to check their central server and give you your account details. You couldn't check it by yourself like we do now. You can't transfer. You couldn't. Everything you want to do, if you had to involve the internet, you had to still walk into the bank to do it. Right? So I was like, okay, fine. I need to figure this thing out. So I went to Aba and I realized that they only did, I could only buy time in, back then you had to use the cyber cafe. Again, now everybody has, you probably have, not probably, everybody has the internet in their phones now. Then you had to go to a cyber cafe and buy time.
Yeah.
And log it in, maybe 1 hour or 2 hours, whatever, and log it in and browse, right? So I did that. I wanted more time, but I needed to go back.
Yeah.
So they told me, you can come on Friday. We do overnight browsing on Fridays.
Oh,
I
really?
was like, okay. So the next Friday I went, then I paid for overnight browsing. So overnight browsing was started by 10 in the night.
The next morning.
Till the 6 a.m. the next morning. So now I had 8 hours to browse. So every Friday I'll go from Umahia to Aba. And I'll type in all these websites. And I'll probably have the latest copy of Success Digest. And I will type in the website addresses. And there was this guy that was everywhere at the time, Chris Carpenter. He had a book called Google Cash. He says you can make a lot of money doing affiliate marketing via Google. I was like, okay, I want this book. But how do we buy the book?
Yeah.
So one day, I was in the school library reading the newspapers again, and I saw this guy. The guy's name is Patrick. I never met that guy ever. I don't even know whether he's alive now, whether he's a ghost. But what I know is that the guy said, we are going to sell you VCCs, virtual credit cards. I'll sell you $50 worth of virtual credit cards that you can use to pay for anything online. Now, I had read an article in Success Digest about virtual credit cards, so I knew it was real. Yeah. So I was like, okay. So if I just send this guy money, so the guy said, so they had the phone number, so I called, and he picked, and I said, I saw your ad in Wednesday Guardian. I remember this like it was yesterday, right? Wednesday Guardian. I saw your ad there. He said, yeah. He said, for the VCC. I said, yeah. He said, yeah. So you send, we sell from $50 up, but you pay 1,000 extra as fees. I was like, okay, fine. How much is it? So it's 9,000. Then $50 was 9,000. So I sent him 10,000. Took the money from my school fees.
Yeah. Do you advise that today?
No, please don't do it. Please don't do it. Well, do it because you're going to do anything you like anyway. But make sure you do it and you know what you're doing, right? So, but I paid him the money and he said the card was going to come in a couple of days. Now remember, I don't know who this guy was. I didn't know whether he was a scammer, right? But then I waited. I had faith, because when you don't know anything, you act with more confidence, right? I think having too much knowledge makes people indecisive.
True.
Having too much information.
True.
Right? I just trusted that he was going to do it. So I just waited. Then 2 days later, I got an email with a card, with a name, and the card numbers, and everything. So we went, plugged it in, so I waited. Of course, I couldn't use it. I had to wait till I do night browsing. So by then, I had told a couple of my friends, right, who also knew how to use the internet. I told Gregory that had bought the booklet with.
Yeah.
Right, so he also knew how to use the internet. His dad was a assistant director in CBN at the time, so he had that access. So we went and then we typed in the card number and we clicked on buy, typed in the card number, and the thing went through. Wow! And we downloaded the ebook on floppy diskettes. I sound like a dinosaur. Yeah, because there were no
flash drives now. I love that. So you had to.
Yeah, exactly. So we downloaded this book. We were so excited. We were reading it. We were like, so he says that one of the best programs you can promote now is the eBay affiliate program. So then eBay will pay you $5 to get people to sign up on eBay if they signed up through your link, right? So we created our own accounts. Right? And we did everything. And I said, oh, okay, now you have to spend money on advertising. I was like, oh, shit. Okay, cool. So the next day, we had to go back to school. The next day, Saturday. But that Saturday, I called the Patrick guy again. And I said, can we buy some more of that credit card? He said, yeah, by all means. So we sent him another 10,000. He sent another credit card. Then the following Friday, we went back to Aba again and now went to Overture. So Overture was the site where they were the guys who introduced PPC, pay-per-click advertising. Okay. Right? So it was eventually bought over by Yahoo. But then Google took that idea and made it a whole lot better. So Google took the idea and made it a lot better. Then Facebook came, right? Because Facebook had more data points. Facebook took the idea from Google and basically blew it up. Anyway, so we went back and started running our little ads. I was the one who wrote the ad. So I think the whole marketing thing has been, like you said, is inborn. But I know that I wrote the ads. And the ads, we didn't even know. We just set it up, activated it. We couldn't know the results until the next Friday when we go for night browsing again. So when we went back for night browsing, I had made 5 sales.
Oh, wow.
Okay, so at first, I saw only 1 sale. I checked my email and I saw $5 and I was so happy. So happy. But I didn't know it was 5 sales. That I thought it was just the one. But I was so happy because I was like, damn.
So this was the first experience selling online?
Yeah. I was so happy. Somebody that I didn't know from wherever bought something from an advert that I placed. That was like a miracle. That was like the 8th wonder of the world for me. And I had gotten an email that I had made $5. Right? So it was when we went back the following week that I realized that It was not just $5. It was actually 35.
Oh, $35.
Yeah, I
so
think
we're getting like $5 per sale.
Yeah, about 7 sales, right? So, we were spending maybe like, I think the budget was probably like, it was really conservative. I can't remember now, but I know it was probably no more than $5 a day, because we really wanted to stretch that $50 for as long as it could go, right? But we made back the money, and then we just kept
Putting back in.
Yeah, but remember, because we had to do this every Friday, right? We had to go back to school, wait till the next Friday. When the money gets exhausted, you have to call Patrick, wait maybe another couple of days before he sends another CVV, and all of that. So there was a lot of wasting of time in between. So some days the ads will not run and all of that. So some months we would do $80.
This was in school.
Yeah. So we spent 50, we make 80. One particular good month I remember was 125. So we spent $50 on ads, we made 125.
That's quite interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, at this point now, you'll be looking at school, looking at what you're doing, like no way back.
From the very first $5, I was like, okay, so this is it.
That's the eureka moment.
This is the thing. I'm going to figure this thing out. Doesn't matter how long it takes. I'm going to figure it out until I'm making 50,000 and 100,000 and $1 million. All of which I've made anyway since then. Right? But I knew from that point that this was the thing. Because I didn't have to farm. I didn't have to till the soil. Right? I didn't have to beg anybody for equipment or anything. It was absolutely permissionless.
Yeah.
So I knew. I was like, okay, this is the thing.
So how long did you do that for?
So that happened till about maybe towards the end of 2004. And then Overture got bought by Yahoo. The ad price skyrocketed and we're no longer in profit. So we had to stop it. So we spent $50 and make 35. Right? And now we have to go find some more naira to buy more money. So it wasn't working. So we had to kill it. We started thinking of something else to do.
I see. So from this time, when did you leave Umaya, come back to Lagos?
Yeah, so I left Umaya in 2008. Left in 2008. So by 2005, finally, cybercafe now came to Umaya. Now we could do night browsing every day if we wanted to. So we didn't have to wait till weekend.
Yeah.
And all of that. So because the Overture thing had ended, eventually eBay even stopped their affiliate program. But at this time, I had learned about other affiliate platforms like ClickBank. I created a ClickBank account. I created a CJ account. CJ is Commission Junction. I created a Share a Sale account. That's another affiliate platform. Created all these. I've had these accounts on all these platforms since 2003.
Wow.
Yeah. Nearly over 20 years now. All right. So, I created all of these accounts and, we're using article marketing, and I started noticing a pattern and I started noticing that the guys who were making really big money on the internet were people who owned their own products. They had either a book or a software that they were selling. All of them. So they come and pitch you to buy their thing. So I was like, I think what I should do is to write my own book. But what do I write about? I'm not an expert at anything. Right? But then I was like, okay, I would really love to have a mentor. So if I wanted a mentor, what path would I go to find one? Someone who would mentor me to become a success in business. So I started researching how to find a mentor. Yeah. I will go on Google, I will type. It was hard finding information on that. But over time, over some months, I put together some info, wrote my own book on how to find a mentor.
Oh wow!
Right. I didn't have a mentor.
Was that the first book you tried to sell?
Yes.
How did you go?
Fantastic. Sold over $10,000 worth.
Oh, wow.
But I got only 2,000.
Oh,
out
wow.
of
Oh, I
15.
think I remember the story. Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
You know, but that was my first book. It sold, started selling it in October 2007. So
You don't share the story with us. So,
basically what happened was, after I written the book, I suddenly realized, oh, you need a sales letter.
yeah.
I was like, oh shit, okay, fine. So I was subscribed to a number of newsletters. So there's this guy called Joe Vitale. So I had one of his sales letters that I read, I really liked. So I downloaded the sales letter and I patterned my own after it. Not copying it because it was for a totally different thing.
Yeah.
But I will look at this. Oh, okay, so he wrote his headline like this. So I'll think of my own topic and I'll write my own headline along those same lines. Right. And that was what I did. And I read this and I was like, this is pretty good. Right. So, but now, because at each point I will not realize, oh, I need something else.
Yeah.
So I read the sales letter and I was like, oops, I need a website. I didn't know how to design a website. But I was coming back to Lagos on holiday. So the Success Digest folks had a seminar on how to design a website. So I paid. And I attended it. And, basically how to use front page to design a website. So I learned how to do that and I used that knowledge. I designed the website and then I realized, oops, I need a payment processor. Oh my goodness. Now, we couldn't open PayPal because PayPal wasn't accepting Nigerians. They still don't accept Nigerians for sending money. They accept Nigerians for...
No, they accept Nigerians
receiving.
for sending money, actually.
Okay, for sending.
For us
not
to
for
receive
receiving.
money, they don't accept.
They don't accept us
That's
for receiving.
racist.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, so how do I get my money? How do I get people to actually successfully pay for this thing? So while I was thinking about that, Success Digest, the latest edition, profiled a new company that was a competitor to ClickBank. It was called pay.com.com. So that's paydotcom.com. Right? And they made it open for everybody. So you didn't have to live in the US to create an account. So I quickly went there, created an account, but they needed PayPal. I was like, okay. So I remember that there was this guy, Rob Panel, he's a friend of mine till date, lives in Australia. So I was on his newsletter. So he sold ebooks and courses about fiction writing, how to write thrillers, how to write mystery novels, how to write romance novels, and all of that. I was on his newsletter because I liked novels.
Yeah.
I've not read a novel in probably over 10 years now. But at the time, I used to read a lot. So I was on his newsletter. So I sent him an email and I said, Rob, I have this book that I've written. I think it will work for your lists. Because one of the articles I had read in Success Digest said you can contact people for JVs. I said, I would like us to do a JV. Read the book. If you like it, let's do a JV.
Yeah.
Right? I'll give you 50%. And I attached the ebook and the sales letter. And he responded. He was like, who wrote that sales letter? That was well written. And I said, oh, I did. I was like, okay, I'm going to do the JV with you. I like the book, but I'm going to take 80%. I was like, okay, fine. Because my reasoning was, if I said no,
Yeah, you're still a bigger loser.
I still have zero.
Exactly.
Right? If I said yes, I have 20%.
Yeah.
And he had a list to promote it to. I didn't have to spend a dime on ads. Right? And that was what happened. So I set it up. He sent me his PayPal address. So it was his PayPal that we used to collect the money. So he got all of the money. He now sent me, so he made this sales of about a little above $10,000. And he sent me $2,000.
How did that feel like having your first $2,000? Ever?
Okay, so that first $5 was more enjoyable than the 2,000, to be honest. Yeah, but that 2,000 was like confirmation for me, right?
Yeah, okay, so
because everybody told me, my classmates, they said they will make fun of me. They say you're wasting your time.
Yeah.
Better go and read your book so that you graduate and find a job. Because then I will also read motivational books, books about how to make millions, and they will call me dreamer, dreamette. Billionaire kid, and all of that. And I was like, you guys don't understand, but one day you will. One day you will.
Have some of them come back to you now?
Of course. I didn't want to tell them I told you so.
Yeah.
But God knows that with many of them, it was on my lips. I was almost going to say it, but I told you so. But now, look at you now coming to ask me for money. You know, life is funny. So many of them, when we were still in school, many of them have started, because while I was in school, I started a computer shop. So I would do printing on all of this stuff.
Yeah.
A couple of them also started the computer shop thing. But when I was living in school in 2008, I abandoned everything. I dashed it out. Because I didn't want anything to tie me down to my... I didn't want to have... in the Bible, it says that Lot's wife looked back. I didn't want to have something in my head that would make me look back.
Yeah.
Right? So I called the guy that will always help me. He was still a student at the time. I told him, Alex, I'm giving you everything. Everything, you can have it. He was shocked. And I left. Right? Now, what's going to shock you? You see those guys that had those shops with me, they still have those shops till today.
Oh.
I kid you not.
Are you serious?
Yeah. But now, here's the difference. Now they are married. Now they have
and they can't
kids.
move. They can't move from that
leave.
place anymore.
They're stuck.
Oh.
And I saw it. I knew that if I let that thing make me look back, I was going to be stuck. Because that's how life creeps up on people. It starts small. You don't understand that this is a mediocre life creeping up on you. Right? And then you get married. And then you settle a little bit. Then you have your first kid. And then you settle some more. Then you have 2 kids. Now you have responsibilities for 3 people. Now you don't have a choice but to settle. You no longer have a choice.
Because you cannot take
all your
any
dreams
risk.
are now you can't take
any risk like that.
And that's why I always say it on Twitter. I say, young people, please do the things you want to do now that you are still young and single. Because I did. And even now that I'm married and I have kids, I don't care. I still do what I want to do. But that's because now I've built a foundation that allows me make those choices. I don't have to settle anymore. Because I knew from day one. Nobody told me that, but subconsciously, I just knew that if I wanted a different kind of life, there was a way I had to act. I couldn't act like the masses. Also, reading a lot of books helped me anyway, a lot of the motivational books and all of that. Right? So those guys are still there, still running computer shops, still running a provision store. Right?
That's crazy.
That's crazy.
So you made that first $2,000. You moved back to Lagos. Did things become like very smooth?
No, it didn't, because I withdrew the first 1,000. Because again, remember, the $2,000, he asked me for a paper. He said he needed to send it via paper. So I had to use a Niger address in Niger, the country, to open a paper, because Niger was accepted at the time. So I opened a PayPal account. So there's this guy that will pay you Naira if you send him paper, money from your PayPal. So I sent $1,000 to the guy. He paid me Naira. I'm still friends with the guy today. He's still on Facebook. So he was running an exchange business, online exchange business at the time. So he paid me the money and I spent it like a fool. Because it was Christmas, right? Spent it. I mean, the Christmas was soft, like we like to say, that particular year, 2007. So by January, I was broke because I didn't have any money anymore. I spent it all in December. And I went back to log into the account to withdraw, to send the guy another 1,000.
Yeah.
And the account had been banned.
Oh.
So PayPal still has my $1,000 still.
Those people probably like make millions of dollars.
Season people's money.
Funds.
They do it all the freaking time. And they don't get called out because they fund all sorts of political caucuses and all of that, do a lot of lobbying, and their headquarters is conveniently located in Israel. So there you go. Now you know why they're untouchable.
I see. So you're in Lagos now. This $1,000 has finished. PayPal has banned your account.
Yes.
How do you navigate
I'm
life?
back to zero. I'm back to zero and hating myself. Hating myself because I was like, what a fool you are. You should have withdrawn all the 2,000. But what do I do now? I was like, okay, I don't have money to go online and sell to the foreign market again, right? Okay, maybe I'll try doing the same thing for Nigeria, but I don't even know how to sell things in Nigeria because my first experience was selling to people abroad.
So this is
foreign
market. Sell to the foreign market.
Exactly.
The foreign market today.
So I was like, okay, I need to learn. This Ideas had a seminar that they were doing at the time, and it was 5,000 to attend. And I didn't have the 5,000, so I called my sister. She was working at Intercontinental Bank then, and I said, "Baby girl, see, I have this seminar I want to attend. I need money to pay for the seminar and all of that." And she says, "Okay, I'll send you some money." And she sent me 15,000, so I paid for the seminar.
Yeah.
Now, let me say this as an aside. My sister, there's nothing on earth that she wants that I don't do. Nothing. There's nothing she will ask for that I will not do. She doesn't know it. I don't tell her so that she doesn't take advantage of it.
Yeah.
But there's absolutely nothing that I wouldn't do if she asks for it. Absolutely nothing. And it was because of that money she gave me. If I have to inconvenience myself to do it, I will. If I have 1 million, for example, and that's the only 1 million that I'm going to have for the next 6 months, if my sister asks me for it, I will give it to her. Yeah. And it's because of that money, because it was because she gave me the money. That's why I have everything that I have now.
Oh.
Yeah. So she gave me the money and I paid and I went for that training. It was a 6-day training. And then I wrote my first ebook that I sold in Nigeria. And one person bought. Just one person. Right? But then I was happy because one person said yes.
Yeah.
Right? So I said, okay, what mistakes did I make? Because what happens to a lot of people is that they try something, it doesn't work, and they shut down. If you try something, it doesn't work, you need to examine it and say, what did I not do well? And then you do it better. So that was what I did. And I said, okay, I was trying to send my sales letter via email because I didn't have a lot of money. I was trying to conserve money. So I was trying to send money send the sales letter. So people respond to the adverts by sending an email to learn more to my Yahoo email. I will send an email to 50 people. Yahoo will not let me send any more emails for another 24 hours. By the time I went back to the cafe the next day to send more emails, I will see that like 200 more people had responded to the ad. The ad was hot. I had like 800 responses. Eventually ended up responding to maybe like half. And because the responses were not coming on time, people will not get the reply, so they will forget.
Yeah.
But I made one sale, so this time I was like, okay, now I have to automate this stuff. So I bought a domain name, put the sales letter on the site, did it properly, and all of that, and ran the advert, I ran another advert, right? But by now, the money had gone. I needed to raise money quickly. So I took the last 1,000 out of that money, the last 1,000, because I said, if this money doesn't work, I'm done. I don't know where to start again. So I went to Jalaba and I bought CDs for 500, 100 CDs, CD pack for 500. And I took a bus and I went to my sister's office and I said, I want to borrow your laptop. And I borrowed her laptop and I went to the cafe, plugged in the laptop, downloaded like 30 different ebooks from ebook websites.
They're like PLR.
PLR books. And I was using the laptop to bond the books to the CDs. And I also bought sleeves, the CD sleeves, about another 100. So it was about 260, I think. So 500 plus 260 now, 760. So I put it. Then I spent 100 naira No, not 100. I think either 100 or 200. I listed the titles that I felt were hot
Catchy, yeah.
and catchy. Listed them in Microsoft Word. I created a table with 4 squares. Then I put the titles inside. Then I printed it out for 100 naira, and then I did photocopy. So at the end of that, I spent 960 naira out of that last 1,000. I had 40 naira left. But I had CDs. I had 100 CDs. And I went back to Success Digest because they had another seminar. And I waited outside until it was break time. And I was showing people. I said, these books will help you. How much is it? 1,000. And the first day I sold 32 CDs. By the next day, when I came back, it was a 2-day seminar. When I came back the next day, I sold maybe like 5. Because the guys who had bought the previous day had copied for other people. But it didn't matter. I sold 37 CDs. So I had 37,000.
Beautiful.
Yeah. So it was that 37,000 that I now used to pay for the domain name, right? Run another ad again. And now this new ad now makes 56,000. Run the ad again, it made 65,000. Run it again, it made 120.
This is the way you remember all these numbers.
Yes, because these were significant periods. Right? I don't even remember the last 10 million that I made. I can't tell you how I made the last 10 million. But I know how I made the first 120, the first 56, the first $5.
Beautiful. So this is you went from literally 0, took 1,000 naira, and then bought your sister's laptop, and then you're able to make 37,000 naira, and then you run your ads and run your ads. So what happened next?
So that was it. Basically, that was what I was doing. I was just writing new ebook, run ads, sell it, maybe make 250, maybe make 100,000 sometimes. Maybe a good month I'll do 400,000, 500, 600.
In between these periods, were there times where life was like very difficult?
Yeah, so between losing the 1,000 to PayPal, right, and getting that money to go to the seminar, the 6-day seminar, and starting again, in between was horrible. Horrible because I was living in Festac at the time. I was living in an empty house. It was a flat, but it was empty. It had no doors, no windows. It had no bed, nothing. Just had an old bucket.
Why were you not your family house?
No, but my family lived in Iba. I had a disagreement with my dad.
Okay.
Right, so I left the house. So I was living there, no food to eat. I just made sure that no matter what, I had 100 naira for browsing and another 100 for Success Digest. No matter what, even if it meant me
hunger is temporal,
not eating. Yes. So I will go to people, collect old newspapers, sell them to these guys who sell suya and all of that, and get some money, maybe 300, 500. So I'll make sure I have 200 for Success Digest and browsing. And then I'll buy it. Sometimes I'll buy food if it was enough, otherwise I'll just buy gari. I remember there was no plate in this place. No plate. No spoon. So I'll make the gari inside that bucket.
Which bucket?
That bucket inside that flat.
Bucket you used to have your bath.
Yes. I will wash it. Use it to drain the gari, then wash it again. I will go to the well. There was a well at the end of the close. That was where I would draw water from.
That's terrible. We don't know mosquitoes.
Yeah, of course. The mosquitoes it was bad.
So did you move back to your family house afterwards?
I was sleep on cartons. No, I never moved back.
Okay.
I never moved back. So what happened was, when I now started getting money, started running the ads, started getting more money, right? And I had money. So I now rented the house from the owner. So the guy bought it, but he didn't have any money for renovation, so he left it. So I tracked down the guy, the man who owned it. He was in the Navy at the time, but he sold it now anyway. Sold it to us. So,
nice.
Yeah, it was a good thing that this place, we own it now. Anyway, rented the place and now put in the glass panes, bought glass panes, put in the glass panes, fixed it up basically. Started living there. And I told my family, I went back to them and said, guys, and I have a place. People were like, you have a place? How? Yeah, that stuff. Then you guys said I should not do that. I should go and do NYC and look for a job and all that stuff. That stuff is now working. Because every month I will make 400, 500, 600K, right? So eventually they moved. We started living there.
Your family?
Yes.
Oh.
From Iba. They moved from Iba. So we started living there. So that was how that part of the story went.
Oh. So where does Aki and Labi turn your motor show?
Oh,
and
yeah.
These guys, where did they come into the story?
Yeah, they come in through Success Digest because by 2009, I did an article and I wrote about that seminar that I went to at Success Digest. And I said, I went to this seminar, but I failed. And this is why I failed, right? If I was going to do it again, this is what I would do. Then I just got a call out of the blue one day. The person said, hi, my name is Ruth Okorion. I'm calling you from Success Digest, from the chairman's office. I was like, oops, okay. He said, yeah, Dr. Jawase, our chairman, would like to have a meeting with you on Thursday by 4 p.m. Will you be available? And I was like, I said, okay, yes, I will be available. But I was afraid because in the article was about their seminar. So I thought he had read it and was angry that I said something. But I went back to that and goes, did I say anything wrong? But who knows how these rich people act, right? So I said, well, I will go. But on that Thursday, I was like, maybe these people don't arrange police or keep by the side. If I reach there now, they will grab me. Should I go? But my spirit said, go. What's that? So I went. And when I walked into his office, the first thing he said was, I saw your article. I was like, gang. And then the next thing he said was, and I loved it.
Oh.
I was like, I feel so much better. So he said, that was a good one. You write really, really well. And I looked at your website. I saw you were a really good copywriter. I have a seminar coming up and I want you to come and teach them copywriting. I was like, what? What? He said, will you be available? I said, yes, sir. By all means, I will be available. I'll be available. Because I had gone for that seminar, that 6-day seminar. That was where I met Aki Alabi for the first time. That 6-day seminar. Because they were brought in as part of the people who had gone through Success Digest training and were doing well. And I was like, one day I'm going to be up there as one of the people that will be showcased. And here it was happening so fast. I would not just be showcased, I would actually be teaching other people. So the seminar came with 900 people in that hall. And I went up there and I spoke for about an hour. The place went bananas. People were swarming me when I left. People were like, do you have anything for sale? I didn't have any goddamn thing for sale. Nothing. I was like, oh no, I have this website. I have an ebook on affiliate marketing there. You can check it out. A lot of them went up, but it wasn't about copywriting. So I was like, okay, I need to create something on copywriting. So I did. Created a product on copywriting. That was the product that made my first 1 million.
Oh, yeah. I see. But where did you learn to write from? Now, somewhere in the story you mentioned that you saw Joe Vitale's copy and then you modeled it. But how did you master copywriting?
So after that first ebook, did the $2,000, I was really fascinated with the fact that I could write something and people would respond. So I started downloading all kinds of sales letters. Anywhere that I saw it, if it looked like a sales letter, I would download it. I started downloading copywriting books and I would read them. Then I stumbled on this guy's website. It was a yellow website. The pages were yellow. And his name was Gary Halbert. And I had never seen any freaking human being like that in my entire life. He was witty. He was charming. He was insulting. He was cocky. He was humble. All rolled into one person. His newsletters were an absolute delight to read. He would make fun of himself. He would make fun of others. And then he would teach you at the same time. I couldn't get enough. And I found out that he had died the previous year. So his children were the ones who were keeping the websites up as a legacy to their dad, which they still do till date. So I started looking for every book that this guy had. I bought his book, Amazing Secrets of a Marketing Nerd, something like that. You know. So I bought that. He had another book called Boron Letters. I bought that. He had some short reports that he wrote. I bought that. He had a collection of sales letters that he had written. I was like, really? I bought that. And I started patterning my writing after him because I loved how he communicated. So a lot of the foundationals were from Joe Vitale and then majorly Gary Halbert. So from there, I started crafting my own style because I had, and now writing came easy for me because I had been writing since I was 5. My mom would make me write essays from when I was 5.
I spent my holiday.
Yeah. So she would make me write. And she was a teacher, so you had to write or you wouldn't eat. She would tell you will not give you food unless you write. Right? So I've been writing for donkey years. So writing wasn't an issue. Putting thoughts together and organizing it logically wasn't a problem for me. I could do that like really, really easy. You know, so I'm now finding something that I could now write that would make money. Oh la la. That was like crazy for me.
So that is basically what's informed like how you started copywriting and all that. So you mentioned that the copywriting product made you your first million.
Million, yes.
That's like, I mean, you already made millions compounded.
Compounded, but at one time.
At once. Do you remember what the product was priced like?
I think it was 3,000 there. Or 5,000, I can't remember, but either of the two.
So that was like maybe 200 sales. Yeah. Thereabouts.
Yeah.
Nice.
So, you know, it gave me more confidence. So I created another book. Now, here's this funny story that's kind of instructive. So the next product that I created was a book about blogging. Blogging was starting to get popular. So, you know, people would come and ask questions on Facebook. You know, how do I start my own blog and all of that? So I wrote an ebook about blogging because I had started a blog. Yeah. And I came to Success Digest to run an advert. I went to the offices because a lot of my adverts were run inside the magazine because they had a page for adverts. And what I would usually do was I would buy maybe a small space to run my ad, right? Maybe 5x7 space, just tiny space, right? Or 2x2 or 3x2, right? 3 inches by 2 inches space. You know, that $1 million book was a full page ad. I put the full entire sales letter on the full page. Now the thing was that I did it as a sort of a JV with Success Digest. So they didn't charge me for the space. But then, foolish me should have simply used my part of my 1 million that I got to run another full page ad. But guess what I did? I defaulted back to the small box, right? But then I wrote this book on blogging, and I was in the advert office at Success Digest. I had paid for the adverts, but this time I did a little bigger, a lot bigger. I think it was a quarter page this time, right? So I did the ad. I had sent them the ad. I designed the ad and sent it to them.
You like designed it on your computer?
Yes, on my computer, on my laptop, and designed it, sent it to them. As I was about to leave, Aki Alabi walks in. right? And we exchanged pleasantries because then I knew him because now I had become a mentee to the man who owns Success Digest, Dr. Sonia Jagoson, right? And Aki was also his mentee. So from time to time, we were invited to his house, so we met there. So we were friends at the time. Right? So Aki walks in, and I was like, "You came to run?" And I said, "Yeah." That he wrote a book about blogging, that he wants to run a full-page ad. Immediately he said it, my heart fell. I had just submitted a quarter-page ad for blogging, and this guy is here. He wants to run a full-page ad, and he's also a brilliant copywriter. And I was like, "Oh shit, what the hell do I do?" Now I couldn't run for some reason that I can't remember. I couldn't pay for the full page, even if I wanted to, because the money wasn't available. Either I had paid rent or something had happened, right? So I was like, I stepped out of the office and I was thinking. He was discussing with the guys. He told them, that he has paid for the full page, that this is, so he gave them his own advert. So he now told me, that he's going to Baba's house. I said, okay, I'll meet you there. Because his house wasn't that far. So I told him, okay, I'll meet you there. So when he left, I went back to those people and I said, that advert that I gave you guys, I want it back. I don't want you to run it. Please delete it. They were like, you don't want to run the ad? I said, no. I'm writing a new ad. I'm writing a new advert. But I want that one deleted. They said, they will delete it later. I said, no. Delete it now that I'm here. I need to be sure that it's deleted so that you guys don't make a mistake and run it. So deleted it. I had written a new ad. My new ad said, you are going to see a lot of adverts about blogging in this edition of Success Digest. Buy all of them. When you fail, buy mine. Mine will make you succeed. Website.
And that was all.
Now, many years later, I was in Aki Alabi's office at Nairabet, and we were reminiscing about our days running adverts in Success Digest. And he said that all his adverts in Success Digest were hits, made money. But there was one particular one that he ran that didn't make the money that he thought he was going to make. I said, which one was that? He said it was the one about blogging, that he ran a full-page ad, that he barely made back the money for the full-page ad. And I started laughing. I was laughing so hysterically that he was like, what is so funny in what I just said? I said, I know why your ad did not do well. I said, because I know you don't remember, but I was there. I was there in that office that day when you came to place the ad. And when you said you were placing a full-page ad, I was afraid because I had just given them an ad for blogging. So I withdrew the ad that I gave them and I gave them this one. I now explained the ad that I gave them. I said, because my own made a shitload of money.
Right? It was not be like bad guy.
It was like, so that but we had a good laugh about it.
After this period now, you were running ads on Success Digest and all that. How did your career in marketing and everything now evolve to what it is today? Yeah, so at that point I decided I wanted more, and just selling ebooks and courses were not going to cut it. I noticed that there was a need for digital marketing services for business owners in Nigeria. So I registered a company in 2010. I still run that company today. It's one of the companies that I run today. And I started shopping our services to businesses. And of course, in 2010, a lot of people would be like, why the hell do we need you guys? Right? We have agencies. We have all these big agencies, and it was hard trying to market that, but we persevered, and that company has done really, 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 really well. Right? So basically set up, it's a consultancy firm that handles digital marketing for businesses. What was it like getting your first client?
My first client was Reverend Sam Adeyemi.
Oh, wow.
So it was like a referral from my mentor. Yeah, so somebody that he trusted said, these guys are going to do a good job. So we put all his books online, did sales letters for all of them, connected upsells, downsells, all of that. First month they did 19 million. Hadn't sold that much books ever until that point. So, but they've taken all that now and, made it something a whole lot larger now. But we set up the first system for them. And then Our next client was Leaders and Company, the publishers of this day.
Oh,
Yeah. Then we had this spa, but the owner is late, so he shut it down. The spa was on Allen Avenue. Then, of course, Naira Beds.
was this spa, was it the one you talked about in one of your books?
Yes.
I talked about how you filled the
Yes,
spa.
when they opened,
Hmm.
we filled them from day one of opening. Of course, Naira Beds. So once we had Naira Beds as a client, we kind of went narrow and started serving a lot more betting companies. Right? So Naira Beds, Ebony Beds, 1960 Beds. So
Does 1960 bed still exist?
yes, it does, but under a new name.
Oh,
and
really?
ownership. now.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
So-
no.
What was it? I can't even remember. To be honest, I can't remember. So, we did pretty good. Done pretty good. That's actually where the major money that I've made in my career, my marketing career, came from. So we did that until 2018 when we started the real estate company.
Buy your properties.
Yes, Bywell Properties. Yes. So
Have you played in real estate before that time?
no, yes. So we had real estate clients
Okay.
for the digital marketing firm. So I kind of had an idea, right? We had a number of real estate clients that we did very amazing work for. And in fact, one of them approached us to become do a JV with them, but we turned them down because we were already thinking of doing our own thing. So we eventually did our own thing.
How did that go?
Yeah, it went well. It went well, but we got out of the real estate business in 2021 because there's a lot of shenanigans in the real estate sector in Nigeria. Lots and lots of shenanigans. Shenanigans that I don't want to be involved with. Right? And this may anger some people in real estate. If it angers you, I don't give a fuck. There are a lot of people selling lands they shouldn't sell in the real estate business.
Oh,
in
wow.
Nigeria. Yeah. They sell unallocated land, unexcised land, lands that they don't have permission to sell. Right? Because the land laws in Nigeria are kind of convoluted and confusing. In Nigeria, government owns all land, even though you own it. But government has a superseding authority on the land, right? So even though it is your land, you still have to go to government to get permission to actually use your land. Now, government has earmarked certain areas for certain things. So that even if it's your land, whenever they want to do that thing, maybe let's say they've earmarked it for a school or for a road. Yes, it is your land. Yes, it's your community land, whatever. Whenever they want to build that stuff, all they need to do is just give you guys some compensation.
So does it explain why they are demolition a lot of houses? And people are crying the government is wicked, the government is wicked.
Absolutely. That's why.
So it's from the people that sold the land, first of all.
Unfortunately, especially in Lagos.
Yes.
And you can get angry if you like, if you live in Lagos. I have bought land in Lagos. I really don't care. I'm just saying what needs to be said. But especially in Lagos, I think, I don't have the hard numbers, but I estimate that 90% of people who bought land in the Lake Ekpe area will never ever take possession of those lands.
That's crazy.
Yes.
Has it been marked out for
Yes,
something?
because those lands have either been marked for just farming, just for agricultural purposes, or they've been marked as roads, the roads will pass through them, or they've been marked as public utilities like parks, schools, right? So basically what happens is if a real estate company wants to sell that place or whatever land, right, they need to go to the government and confirm the status. So the status is, does government plan to do anything on that particular axis where the portion they want to sell is, right? If the government wants to do something there, they now have to apply to the government formally and ask government to convert the use to residential. You get. Now, it is up to the government to decide whether to do it or not.
Yeah.
If the government does it, then they will get that permission to convert it to residential. The problem is that most of these companies don't bother to do that. They just go ahead, go to the family or the village or the community where the land is, pay them, parcel it out, and sell it to everybody without caring what really happens. And they tell the people, oh, we have survey.
The survey plan.
Anybody, you can always get a survey plan. The survey plan, you get a surveyor, a registered surveyor, and he will survey a plan for you. And then you take that plan and submit it to the government for an approval. The government will approve the survey. The government approving the survey does not mean that that land is now okay for you to convert it to whatever. You understand? The survey plan is just the first step in a series of permits you are supposed to get.
Yeah.
Right? But they get the survey plan and use that as the basis for selling lands to people. So people buy these lands, come back in 10 years to make use of the land, only for them to find out that they shouldn't have even bought that place in the first place.
Crazy.
It's crazy. So we didn't want to do that. So we decided to move the company and move it abroad. I and my partner, Mr. Tony Motoshaw, are now running that business in Dubai now.
So the real estate company,
Yes.
but now in Dubai.
Yes.
Beautiful. How's it been?
Yeah, it's good. It's a different environment, challenging environment. It's good. The goals are different. Obviously, the goal is actually to own properties, our own properties in Dubai, and not just resell.
Yeah.
So that's where we're going.
So like rental property.
Yeah, rentals,
residential.
residential, commercial. Yeah,
Interesting.
absolutely.
So for somebody that is like very loud on Twitter, you look so calm in person.
Yes, I am calm. I am calm. The thing is that on social media, when people don't see you, right, when they're behind a keypad, they think they can do anything and say anything, right, and get away with it because you are not there physically. So I like to remind people that you can't just do anything you like and get away with it. I'm going to match you violence for violence. The same way I would do it if you confronted me in that manner, face to face. So the fact that I'm calm in person doesn't mean you can do anything you like with me.
Why?
Because I could switch it up anytime.
Yeah. Why do you teach a lot online, especially like for free? And you've been doing this like since way back.
Yeah, so I started from zero. Right? My dad's business at the time was down. So we had nothing. We had gone from rich to poor again. So we started from scratch. I started from scratch. Started from a hard place. So I teach for two reasons. Number one, because I want people to have the information that I didn't have. Because if I had somebody who had said, oh, do this and do that and do that, I probably would have gotten my results a lot faster. That's number one, right? So I like to, especially people who I see coming from the kind of the same place where I was coming from, a place of lack, a place of hopelessness, a place of not knowing who to turn to. But they have these ideas, they have the internet as the tool. I want to be the person who can help guide them and say, if you do it this way, you are going to get the results because I did it. And I did it when there was practically no tools. But now we have all the tools. There's social media, there are cards, there are services, there's literally everything, right? So now you can do it a lot far faster. You can do it a lot better, right? So that's number one. Number two is that my mentor made me promise him before he died. He said, I want you to teach people like I taught you, right? Because he taught me a lot. I always say that he's my second father. I regard him as my second father on earth. After my real father. He's my second father, like literally. I mean, even now that he's late, I literally worship. Of course, he's late, so he can't step anywhere, but I literally still worship the ground that he walked on. Right? Because without him, I'm not sure I would be here today. Without that guidance from the moment that I met him.
Yeah.
Right? I'm not sure I would be here. Right? So because his advice, being there for me every time, having someone to go to and share your ideas with and discuss your life with and get solid advice that comes from a place of experience was very, 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 very valuable for me. And this was somebody who was a billionaire. So it wasn't like, he was at my level. He had run a publishing company. By the time he died, he had run it for nearly 40 years, if not more. 40 years. Right? He had different businesses.
So it was like based on that,
Exactly.
you still like carry on the legacy and
Exactly.
keep teaching people.
So I basically carry on the legacy. I teach people. I want people. We live in a country where we have an elite, a political and a business elite that corner the resources to themselves alone. Right? What it means is that the majority of the people have little to nothing on which to base their ascendancy on, or from which to grow from. Right? The politicians want their wives and their children to take over after them. Same thing with the business elite. So what happens to the people? They have nobody. So I kind of want to be that person for the people. Right? To tell them what you need is a way to break out of poverty. And it doesn't necessarily mean that you are poor, but you are still in a place where you don't have much.
Yeah.
Right? If I can give you stuff, if I can teach you, if I can tell you things that will help you go from there to the point where you can also now begin to do it for other people, then my job is done. So that's why I do it.
Is it deliberate also that you have like a lot of young people, you're accessible to them?
Yes,
basically,
that's
you
actually the
guide
reason
them.
why I'm accessible. I do it on purpose. It takes a lot of my time, to be honest. A lot of time, a lot of resources, but I like doing it. I like to see young people just get their own. Because the thing with money, the thing with resources is that if you have it, you have choices. If you have it, you don't have to kowtow to someone. You don't have to be somebody's errand boy. You don't have to slave for another person because you have your own. My mentor didn't have me to become his sidekick or be loyal to him just so that I could feed. He had me become independent on my own and have my own thing and make my own decisions and be my own person. So he did that for me. I want to do it for other people. So that's why I teach. That's why I'm accessible. That's why I have an open door, despite how much it takes in order to be able to do that, despite how much time I have to expend and resources I have to expend, right? I don't mind as long as it works. And it works, so.
Beautiful. Yeah. So as somebody that started out as an affiliate marketer, I mean, that's like one of the very first things you did. How do you feel when you see like people dragging affiliate marketing every day on the TL, especially on X?
Well, I see it as foolishness. I'm a very blunt person, so I just say what I feel. So it's silly because the people that are doing the so-called dragging are also affiliate marketers. Because affiliate marketing simply means recommending something to someone, and then that person buys it and you get paid part of what they paid for the thing. And people do this all the time. All the time. Real estate agents are affiliate marketers. Network marketers are affiliate marketers. Right? Practically, if everybody sits down and thinks about it, they've recommended something that made them money one time or another. There's nothing wrong with that. So simply coming online and saying, if you're an affiliate, is it because it now has a name? Right? And again, a lot of people criticize things that they're not comfortable with because they are guilty of doing the thing. Right? So a lot of people think that making money by recommending something is wrong, which is stupid. Why would it be wrong? The entire, for example, we Igbos, right? Our entire apprentice system is based on a concept called Igbo Asahe. That is affiliate marketing.
True.
That is affiliate marketing. I know many people in the market who started with the offer thing. They didn't have a shop, they didn't have goods. But every morning they wake up and they go to the market. If they see a customer coming to the market, they ask the customer, they approach, they ask him, what do you want? The person says, I want so and so. They take him to a shop that sells the thing. The person buys, and the shop owner gives them a cut. They do it, they save the money, they keep saving it, they accumulate until they have enough to run their own shops. Now they are shop owners. Why would someone look at something like that and criticize it?
Some people say that the reason why they are criticizing and they don't like it is because of the model that people buy affiliate marketing courses only to become affiliate marketers to sell affiliate marketing courses and all of that.
Who cares? Who cares? Buy the course and sell anything you like.
Yeah.
Who cares? Who cares? you understand? It doesn't. It's neither. It's neither here nor there, right? Yeah, somebody bought a course to learn affiliate marketing and decides to sell that course to other people who want to learn affiliate marketing.
Yeah.
So you buy the course. If you don't want to sell it to other people who want to learn affiliate marketing, then don't sell it. Sell something else, because the course will still simply shows you how to sell things to other people. You don't have to sell the course. You can sell something else. If somebody chooses to sell the course, it is their choice.
Yeah.
If they sell it and it works, fine. If they sell it until it stops working, fine too. They are simply going to find something else that sells. Right? I run an e-commerce business. I have affiliates who sell our physical products. They don't have to sell courses. They sell our products. They sell our supplements, right? They're also affiliate marketers.
Yeah.
So now, if you criticize all of affiliate marketing, you're including them even though they're not selling courses.
True.
That's why it's dumb to do that.
True. I mean, in my opinion, there's nothing bad about selling courses anyway. Anybody can sell anything they choose to sell.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
So there was this debate last year.
Yeah.
It's tech. It was tech Twitter versus marketing Twitter.
Oh yeah.
I said, people in marketing and sales make more money than people in tech. And people in tech say, are you playing with tech money? People in tech make more money than like people in marketing and sales. You now, you're somebody that is on the both side of the divide because you both built like different tech products, and then you're a marketer yourself. What do you think about that discourse?
I think it's a discourse by people who have nothing serious to do with their time. Because to be honest, what's the point? At the end of the day, you've got to ask yourself, whatever I'm going to get engaged in, especially online beef or back and forth, how does it matter in the grand scheme of things?
No.
Who cares who earns what? There are tech people who earn more than internet marketers. There are internet marketers who earn more than tech people. All the freaking time. There is never going to be a time that people are going to earn the same thing. Some people are going to have more money than others.
True.
Some people are going to sell more things than others. It doesn't matter whether they are tech or whether they are internet marketers. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. That is a discourse that doesn't matter.
Yeah.
That doesn't have to be happening. Why is it happening? I just think people have a lot of time on their hands. That's why they engage in those kind of talk. Because if you really focus on what matters, you know that at the end of the day, you have to go back and sell something.
Yeah.
Whether you are in tech or whether you are an internet marketer, you have to go back and sell something.
And do the real work.
And do the real work, which is what matters.
Yeah.
And while you guys are there arguing, there are people in tech and people who are marketers who will see that convo, ignore it, and continue making more money. They'll make more money than you while you are spending time, doing the arguments. The arguments is neither here nor there. It doesn't matter. Who cares? It doesn't matter. Right?
Yep. In business, what does skill mean to you?
Skill is knowing what you need to do to make your business move forward, whatever it is.
So how do businesses scale? And this is kind of like a vague question. Anyway,
okay, sorry. I thought you said scale.
No, scale.
Scale.
Yes. Scale.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So scale is, of course, scale is basically growing at an exponential rate, right?
Yeah.
So as far as business is concerned, that is the goal. You want to be able to grow your business consistently. You want to go from selling 2 widgets to 4 widgets to 10 widgets to 100 to 1,000 to 1 million, if possible. Right? So I read an interesting book sometime. It's called The Millionaire Fastlane by M.J. DeMarco. And he said there are 2 ways to grow a business: scale or magnitude.
That's interesting.
So scale means selling as many units as you can. Magnitude means selling for as much money as you can. So depending on the kind of business you do, right, your money, the money that comes in has to be based on either of these two, either via scale or via magnitude, right? And it was very, very instructive for me because it made me see clearly that I preferred scale over magnitude.
Why?
Yeah, because with magnitude, your skill level has to be really, really high. With scale, your skill level doesn't need to be that high. So let me explain.
True.
So if you're a designer, a graphic designer, and you want to make $1 million, how are you going to do it? You can't scale because you do the design work yourself. You have to spend time to do it yourself. You can't scale time.
Sure.
Which means that the only way you can make more money in your design business is by charging high.
Yeah.
Now, graphic designers are a dime a dozen. So how do you get to the point where you can charge high enough to be able to make $1 million in a year? You have to be ridiculously good. And people have to know that you are ridiculously good. And then they have to be willing to pay you a ridiculously high amount for your ridiculously good skills. The problem is, many people don't want to pay ridiculously high amounts for graphic design work. That is the issue. I heard that the guy, I saw it in the news one time, the guy that designed the Apple logo was paid $10,000 for that design. $10,000. Now, maybe he was lucky they chose him to design the logo. They told him what they wanted, of course, and he designed it. But it could have been anybody else.
No.
It could have been any other designer who replicates that same logo. Would you be willing to pay $10,000 for a logo? Because I wouldn't.
Right now.
Why would I?
No, of course. I know people pay way more anyway.
Yeah, some people will pay way more. Not me.
No, of course not.
Right? Not me. Yeah, some people probably pay. If a huge company wants to change their logo, they probably pay as high as that.
Yeah.
But how many times do companies change their logos?
Yeah.
How many times? So even if they pay you, you want to make $1 million, what are the chances that they are going to choose you out of the multiple graphic designers that have the same skill sets that you have and skill levels that you have, what are the chances that you are going to be chosen? Right? So you see that limits your income.
Yeah.
Or at best, it caps your income. But if you're doing skill, you don't need to be ridiculously good. You just need to know how to sell a ridiculously high amount of your products.
Yeah.
And you can hire other people to do it if you don't know how to do it. Voila. It's easier to hit $1 million. Most billionaires, look at the businesses they run. They're masters of scale rather than magnitude.
Sure.
There are only a few companies whose owners are billionaires that are based on magnitude. That is amount charged per product. Every other, look at Dangote. What does it sell? Salt, sugar, flour, spaghetti, cement. How much profit per item? But see how many units they sell every single day. Mark Zuckerberg, number of people who have to run ads, whether it's $50 ads per day, whether it's $10 ads per day, but every day. Right? Just look at Tesla, the cars, Starlink, the internet devices. They're not going to charge $50,000, $1 million, $500,000 for those. But these guys sell ridiculously high number of units for these products. So it's easier to hit your money goals when you're selling at scale rather than at magnitude. Right? So every business that I do now, I always have it at the back of my mind. And that was part of the reason why I shut down the consulting firm.
Okay.
Because we were making money, but we were slaving for that money. Right? Because of our size, we couldn't sign up beyond a certain number of clients because we needed to serve those clients one-on-one. We're basically each of the clients' marketing departments. So it means that we were basically capped at how many clients we could have at any point in time, which means that our income is capped by the number of clients that we have.
Yeah.
Right? So, yes, we charge big money, but then the money is capped. If I wanted to make more, there was no way to make more. Right? But with a business where I simply sell units, I don't have to think about that. That's the reason why people who do stuff write books and sell them, and they write courses and sell them, because it is easier to actually sell the thing than do the thing. It's easier to sell the thing than to do the thing. So if I learn, okay, so we're in the studio, right? And I say, look, guys, I have a successful podcast. I'm going to show you how to start your own podcast.
I go do course, Abi.
Right? I'll show you how to start your own podcast. You're going to sell far more units than, hey, come and I will charge you money to help you set up your podcast.
Yeah, sure.
They're going to sell far more and make far more money if you just create a course or write a book about doing it. But it's also important to do it so that you are a master of your topic and your subject. Because what a lot of people do is that they are not masters of anything, but they want to be teachers of the thing.
Exactly.
Right? If you do that, you're a fraud, basically. So that's it. So for me, scale is, what do I need to sell as many units as possible?
Yeah. In
the shortest amount of time. Every business that I do now, apart from, of course, the real estate company, even the real estate, right, is going to grow to the point where we just do scale. Because our goal is to have our own development, our own hotel developments in Dubai. That is the goal. So if we have a hotel developed a development or have 400 rooms. I want to be able to sell 400 rooms in a hotel as fast as I can. So that I'll take that money and start building another one, and another one, and another one. And before you know it, I have 4,000 units in a city that I don't even come from. So that's it.
When you ran your very first ad,
Mm-hmm.
were you afraid?
Of course I was. Of course I was. I felt like I was throwing money away. I felt like nobody, I thought so many things. What if nobody answers? What if nobody tells me anything? What if I lose this money?
Do you feel like that same fear holds a lot of people back today?
Yes.
From advertising?
Absolutely. Holds a lot of people back. Holds a lot of people back.
So how did you overcome the fear of like plunging money ads over time?
Just do it. If it doesn't work, you're not going to die.
Actually.
Yeah, you're not going to die. Seriously, you're not going to die. Do it. Because the greatest, as a business person, your greatest points of progress are going to come from the things that you tried that didn't work. Because now, if you learn how to not go into lethargy because you failed, right? If you learn how to simply sit down and say, okay, I did this and it didn't work. Why did it not work? If you learn how to do that, then you will be able to figure out the mistakes that you made or the omissions that happened, so that when you do it the next time, you're not doing it from a new place of knowledge. Let me give you an example. In 2015, I wanted to bring a network marketing company into Nigeria.
Yeah.
In 2015. I said, I'm not going to join any existing one. I'm just going to find one that is new, bring them into Nigeria. And by bringing them into Nigeria and being number one in Nigeria, I get to have some measure of influence over decision making and a lot of things, right? So I spent money. I contacted the company. They said, that they were thinking of coming to Nigeria, that if I can help facilitate it, that they will make sure. Okay, fine. I don't want to mention their name, but the company is based in the US. So I spent money. I rented an office. I staffed the office.
Wow.
Rented the office in GRA Ikeja in 2015. Staffed that office. Did my first 2 events. Signed up 200 people. Because they said if I can sign up 200 people, then they will send representatives. Signed up 200 people from 2 events. And now message them, and I stopped hearing from them. Try to get in touch. My upline reached out to her. She tried to reach out to them. They eventually responded after about a month and said that they decided not to launch in Nigeria anymore. So, but I have an office that I've paid for. I have staff that I've paid for. They had been in employment for 2 months by then. It was painful. I had to sack everybody after 2 months. I had to sublet it because I didn't need that office. I had to sublet it for half of what I paid for it.
How about the people that already signed up to the...
I had to call them for a meeting and announce to them that the company was no longer coming to Nigeria.
Oh.
It was one of the hardest things I've had to do. You've given people the hope, and then it's like you're tearing that hope away from them. Horrible. And I swore that I would never let myself be in that position again, right? So the next time I wanted to do a network marketing company in 2021, this time I knew exactly what to avoid. First of all, I bought books. I bought over 100 books on this topic of network marketing. I bought courses. I paid for consultations from former network marketers, those who were still active, those who were retired.
Yeah.
I wanted to know everything I needed to know before I did it again. And then when I did it again, in our first 3 months, we did 187 million in sales.
In 3 months?
Yes.
187 million.
In 3 months.
Oh, beautiful.
We were with that company for about 9 months before they started having some management issues, right? But by the time we decided to leave the company and start manufacturing our own supplements, we had done nearly 400 million in sales. But now you see the difference. The second time out, I was doing it with better knowledge because I sat down and asked myself, what did I do wrong the first time? How do I not repeat those mistakes? Right? If people learn how to do that, then the failures will not matter.
True.
Failures will not matter.
True.
Because the failures are simply, so you see, it's like a baby. I like using the analogy of a baby. If you have a child, right, and they are trying to learn to walk, they are going to fall a number of times. But does it stop them from trying to walk? It doesn't. They will keep trying and trying and trying until indeed they start walking. Then they start running. How come babies can do that and full-grown adults can't?
Because we have
because we have too much information. Because we have too much information, right? Because we have too much information. Now it's causing a lot of conflict in our heads. Haven't you thought about it that you see someone that makes more money or makes a lot of money and you are like, how the hell does this person make all this money? Because you know that they don't know as much as you know. How? It's because they only know one thing and they go all in on that one thing.
Exactly.
They just go all in on that one thing.
Exactly.
They don't know any better. They don't know any better. It's like when I got started in 2003, I didn't know any better. I didn't know. I just went and signed up to eBay, ran the ad, did what the Google car said to do. And that was it. Right? If I had like 1 million things or sources of information, right, I probably would have been confused because now I'll start thinking, okay, should I sign up to ClickBank or should I sign up to this other program or should I sign up on all of them? Okay, now when you sign up to all of them, okay, so which products do I too much information creates a lot of conflict.
So when starting out, do you recommend like one thing?
Yeah, one thing.
One marketing channel.
One marketing channel. You get good at it, and then you expand to the next one, and the next one, and the next one, and the next one.
What's the biggest amount you spent on a single campaign?
I can't remember. There are some campaigns that I've probably. There's one campaign that I've probably spent 400 million on for a client, though, every year, multiple years, over 400 million each year. Personally, there's a campaign that we have probably spent. I can't even remember how much we spent on that particular campaign, but I'm assuming that it's probably over 30 now. Because the thing with campaigns is that as long as it keeps giving you a positive ROI, you don't ever stop it. It is foolish to stop it. I used to do in the early days, I'll run a campaign, it makes money, I will be happy, then I'll take the money and go and spend it. Now, I don't do that anymore. Right? I just simply put the money back. And then it makes more money, and you put it back, and it makes more money. You just keep doing it, you just keep compounding it. And before you know it, you have 1 billion, you have 5 billion, you have 10 billion. And then when you tell people that it all started from 980 naira, they're going to be like, nah, that's a lie, you liar, you're a fraud, right? Because they don't understand it. Because from the outside looking in, it looks like it's a lie. It's you who is involved that knows exactly how it happened. It's you who is in it that can explain how you went from 980 naira to billions. Somebody from the outside is going to look at it and be like, that can't be right. Because they've seen many examples that were not right, to be honest. So sometimes I understand why they have that skepticism. But skeptic or not doesn't take away from what is fact.
Do you think marketing is like the most important department or even one of the most important departments in any organization?
Of course. Without it, what are you doing? What is the business about? You might as well be a town crier. I mean, Yeah.
I mean, so because a lot of people get product right, get everything right, but they complain they're stuck.
Yeah. So they have to look at what they're doing. It's either the product, the market doesn't want it, or they're not positioning it in a way to make the market want it. And it's amazing to me how people start a business, they spend money on everything except marketing and sales.
Because there's that, I cannot carry a lot of money and go and put inside this thing.
And then they sit back and expect magic to happen. And then magic doesn't happen because, surprise, 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 marketing has to be done for the thing to sell. Right? Nobody is going to wake up and say, and dream of you. And the Holy Spirit will tell them to come and buy something from you.
Even if it happens, it's not the normal order of things.
It's not going to happen. That's what I'm saying. It's not going to happen. God is not silly. God is not silly. Jesus marketed his ministry. What are you talking about? He went around and he called people. He didn't sit down in one place and have 12 disciples come to him. He went looking for people. He went out. He convinced them. The Bible doesn't tell us exactly how he convinced them, because if he did, we'll end up with probably 150 chapters per book in the New Testament. So they broke it down. They say he went and he told Peter to leave your boat and follow me, and Peter followed him. No, he didn't have Peter is not stupid. He convinced Peter. They had to sit down. He must have told him something to convince this guy to leave everything behind and follow this guy. And he did it with 12 different people. He went out and marketed his let me not call it a business, but he marketed his vocation. He marketed his vision.
Yeah.
He sold it. So if God sold his business, how do you think you are not going to sell your own? How is it supposed to happen? Oh, so you think God will now come and say, no, I did my own, but you don't have to do your own? No, God is not foolish. He doesn't act like that.
I get it. So 2 more questions and then we'll be done with this. Yeah. I think we should do another part some other time, because there's still there's still lots to talk about. Well, so what is your approach to saving and investment? Because I mean, so you're like the godfather in this marketing, especially internet marketing space. And you see a lot of people, internet marketers, make money, a lot of money. And then maybe a few months, 2 years later, you see them like they are back to square zero. So they blew the money, expecting that they will make another one, and something happened. Maybe ad account got banned, maybe product stopped converting, and a lot of that, and then they are back to like square zero. What's your approach to saving and investment?
Okay, so what people, especially marketers, need to understand is that the order of life is that things are never perfect 100% of the time, and things are not bad 100% of the time. In my place, we have an adage where you say, "Ojoberonjo, it's not as bad as how well it's going to be." So we use that when people complain about things being bad. We say, yeah, things are bad, but it's not so bad compared to how good it's going to be. And vice versa. This is business. There will be ups and downs. Ups and downs. Every business person will experience it at different points in time. I have. Dangote has. Different people have. Dangote, they were just complaining about his refinery getting burnt or something the other day. That is money lost. That is money down the drain. That is production halted. Everybody will experience it. That's why, as a business person, you need to plan for the rainy day. You need to have savings. You need to have investment instruments, because nothing is going to go up 100% of the time. And also the opposite way, nothing is going to keep coming down forever. At some point, it's going to stop and start climbing back up again. I mean, look at the money markets, crypto, stock, forex. Yeah. It's up and down and up and down and up and down. That's how life is. So what people need to do, marketers, is to dedicate a certain portion of their income to saving. Now, the way that I do it is something that I learned from Dr. Ibrahim Jimoh. So Dr. Ibrahim Jimoh is the owner of Nikon Group of companies. I met him through my mentor, and he said something that day in his office. He asked me, "What do you do?" And I told him. And he said, "Okay, how do you manage your money?" It was a question out of the blue. I said, "Well, I make money, I put it in the bank." I can't remember exactly what I said. But he said, "I'm going to teach you something." So he says, every money that you get, you divide it into 8 parts, right? 4 parts are for the things that you do with it locally. 4 parts are for the things that you do with it internationally. He said internationally because you don't want all of your money stuck in the country you live in. So he now said, so the 4 parts that are for local, 1 part, you reinvest it back into your business. 1 part, you save. Then the third part, you put it into liquid investments that you can quickly turn to money if you need money. The fourth part, you put it into fixed investments that you don't necessarily will be able to turn into money fast, but the value will compound over time.
Yeah.
So you do that locally, then you do the same exact thing for the other 4, but you do it abroad. That's what I do.
That's profound.
Yeah, that's what I do.
So we're coming to the end of this episode. But just before we go, so I started doing this on the podcast recently because people watch 2 people in an interview and they learn a lot, they hear your story and they're like, this guy has his life figured out. In fact, these people, their life is perfect. So this is me trying to bring out the human elements in you and ask, what is that thing you're still trying to figure out right now, even at this level?
A lot of times. A lot of things. We don't have it all figured out. So there's a facade, right? And everybody has that facade because you don't know them. If you know them personally, you see that they are not different from you. They're as clumsy and as regular as the next person. What is the thing that I'm trying to figure out? I'm trying to figure out how to make my child listen.
Yeah, so whenever we're on call, she's always going around.
Yeah.
We're like, sit down, no, daddy.
I'm trying to figure out how to. Her mom makes her listen, but she doesn't ever
mom
listen.
has hacked it.
Yes, and that's because my style is different. I don't threaten. I don't shout. I don't scream. Because my mom never did any of those. So what I'm used to is different, right? So I do what I'm used to. But somehow she's figured out that, okay, this guy is like this, so I can override the entire thing. You understand? So she takes advantage of it. So I'm trying to figure out how to make her listen. And that would be something that I would really, really love to do. Then another thing is I'm trying to figure out how to work harder.
That's an interesting concept.
Yeah. I think I'm lazy. I think if I worked hard, I would actually make a lot more money than I currently make. So I'm kind of in a place where I make enough to do all the things that I need done, so I relax. So I know that I want to do a lot more, but what I don't want to do is to spend time. That's also one of the reasons why I probably haven't really been able to do it.
Yeah.
I don't want to commit more time. My goal is to reduce the time that I spend working, but to maximize my output.
Yeah.
So lately, I've really been thinking of doing performance coaching. I've been thinking of it. I've been researching it a little bit, trying to find someone that I can pay as a performance coach. Yeah.
This is like a revelation right now. I want to get to Ronald level. I said, everyone saying how to work harder. Thank you so much for coming to this episode. But this has been like a very interesting, lengthy. This has to pass as the longest episode. I was saying the one with Isaac was the longest episode, but but this is way longer, and it's been valuable throughout. Thank you for coming on. I hope to have you again,
Absolutely,
so that we can have a more interesting conversation. Please tell them to subscribe to the channel.
Yeah, guys, please subscribe to the Entrepreneurs Connect show. It's a lovely show. I watch it every time it pops up on my YouTube channel. I should subscribe actually, so that I get so I get the notification. So subscribe. It's an amazing show. Met this guy, I don't know, I think 4 years ago.
4 years now, yeah.
Something. And he actually sent me a book. He said, I'm sending you my book. You remember that book?
I remember.
The book on sales.
I remember.
Yeah. And I remember getting the book and I read a couple of pages. I was like, this guy says he's in sales. Okay, he's saying some interesting things here. I'm going to read the book later. And I didn't read it for an entire year.
Oh.
And then one day I was bored. I was looking for something to read. And that was the first thing that I saw. And I started reading and I read it in one sit. And I was like, I need to reach out to this guy. That was why I reached out to you again.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, he's an amazing guy. The show is an amazing show.
Inspiration to write my next book.
You should subscribe to the show.
All right, thank you very much, boss.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. You heard him, yeah, subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next episode. Take care of yourself and bye-bye, everybody.
Yeah.